my thoughts be quiet. A quiet mind is a receptive mind. Course in Miracles begins with the description that a miracle is a change of perspective on love, thought system based on hate, separation, resentment, scarcity, and we make a transformation into a thought system based on love, unconditional love, the extension of ourselves to every single aspect of creation with perfect flow, without any fear, without any obstacles. This is our aim. But first, a little work is required from us. The Course says a little bit of willingness is required. And that bit of willingness simply is saying that the willingness in your mind has nothing to do with the physical aspect of you, the physical aspect of your life. This little willingness has to do with the willingness in your mind or in your heart. It's not in a physical place, it's an abstract place in yourself when you choose to have happiness be your function here and nothing else. In order to achieve our total function here, we need a bit of mind training. This is why this is called a course. It is a course in mind training. Today we will start a whole new journey together for those who are willing, for those who want to have happiness as their only function here. Today is the first day of that journey through A Course in Miracles. So I was asking this morning, I had a really busy day, and I was saying, oh gosh, I speak to my inner teacher. Yes, many times I call my inner teacher Jesus. Sometimes I call him the Holy Spirit. Sometimes I just say, love, give me a sign. Let me know what it is that I need to know today, what it is we need to look at today. And it came to me very clearly, and I was very surprised and happy that I was instructed into chapter 1. And I was telling my daughter, I've never started a Course in Miracle group on chapter 1. This is the first time. And I'm delighted. This means somehow, to me, it's a symbol of commitment. It's like starting first, in the first place, taking the first steps. So the Course offers us 50 miracle principles. It's like 50 ideas that if we could just take one in completely, our world would change. But it might take 31 chapters and 365 lessons, plus the manual for teachers, for us to take the decision that our only goal is to be happy. But the 50 principles might help. So I'm going to run through some of them, not all of them. And those of you who don't have the book yet, if you're interested, please, in those little cards that I gave you to sign your name in, leave me a note that says, send me the electronic book, and I will do that for you. So you can read it and look at it if you don't have the book. So I'm going to go through a few of the principles, and then we're going to move them so we can have an experience of what the Course in Miracles can truly do for each one of us. It is a practical course. It does not depend on me as a teacher of God, which is what the Course calls anyone who decides to be a teacher. In the Course, you don't have to be certified by anything external from you. You are certified as a teacher of God when you've decided to devote at least 1 year of your life to doing the lessons and allowing them to transform you. So this is how it works, very simple. I may only be a shining light from where I am to show you that some of us can do this and it works for us. There's another shining light over there, a younger one who's already done her lessons too, a quieter one, but yes. So this is how the course works. That's my daughter, and she's done the course for all her life now, basically. So actually she's an advanced teacher. I would say I haven't done it for that long, but she has, so it's wonderful. Now, I will run through some of the miracle principles as a means of inspiration for each one of you, and as they resonate for you, and confirmations or doubts pop into your awareness for you, please do come forth and share them with us. The first one of the principles says, there is no order of difficulty in miracles. And please do not take this principle lightly, because it entails the release of the thought system based in the ego's manual. In the ego's manual, yes, there is an order of difficulty in miracles. There are some that are more difficult and there are some that are very simple. In the Course, it's basic that we open our minds to the idea that there is no order of difficulties. No miracle is better or worse. No miracle is more important or less important. Any idea that is not perfect peace in your mind is a hindrance to the experience of your natural inheritance, which is the joy and the happiness in your heart. So this can be a major illness that you're needing a miracle for, or perhaps it's just a cavity in your tooth. Both, in their own way, require a miracle, because both, in their own way, are hindrances to the experience of peace now. As we accept this first principle, our mind begins to shift from the idea of separation and many causes and effects in our lives to an idea that says there is only one error and there is only one correction. In the Course, one error is the idea that I have separated from my source and thus from the rest. The correction is the coming back to the memory that I am one with every single aspect of the divinity of life. So it says, there is no order of difficulty in miracles. No one is not harder or bigger than the other. They are all the same. They are all expressions of love at its maximum. What is important about the miracle as you request it is to realize that it is always you who is requesting the miracle. For young students of the Course, many times people will say, oh, I offer you a miracle. And there's a sense of, you are in such trouble that I offer you a miracle just for you. It has nothing to do with me. As we work through the principles of miracles, we begin to discover very easily that anything that is happening in my world, anything happening right on this screen that I see, belongs to me. So it is always me, the projector. It is always me in need of a miracle. A miracle as a change of perception. If I cannot see perfect peace, then it is me who needs to change the movie in my projector. So we are being trained to be receptive to changing this movie in my projector, instead of projecting the guilt or the suffering outside. Sometimes when we project it outside, we feel that we are free of it. And it will only come back to you because you are the projector. You are the one observing that screen. And you are the one with the power to change what you've chosen to project. And this you will do with the help of your mind training through the Course in Miracles. And then we have a second principle, and it says, miracles as such do not matter. The only thing that matters is their source, which is beyond all evaluation. This is the first place in the Course, in the book, where the source is mentioned. It is mentioned with a capital S. When the source is mentioned with a capital S, it means that we are talking about the eternal. We are talking about the origin and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, as they say, the infinity, the source of all living aspects of creation. So the miracle itself is not what is important, even though for us at this point in time we might say, oh, I really need this to change. But what is true about the miracle and us miracle workers is that when a change of perception happens, when the miracle actually happens, the only experience that can truly point to the miracle is the love, because they come together. The miracle happens and the expression of love is experienced in quietness and stillness. There is a change in my perception. I no longer want to see this as I saw it. I want to see peace instead of what I saw. And as I open my mind to the miracle, this is what will happen for me. And this is what I will see. Peace instead of whatever it was that I thought needed changing. So it's the love that makes the shift, that is important. And your little willingness comes simply from the fact that you no longer want to defend what was not peace. You no longer want to stand out and stand up for your hatred, or for your pain, or for your illness, or for your idea of separation. The little willingness has to do with, yes, I am willing to accept a miracle in my mind, for I have seen that I am not at peace. If I am not at peace, I've made a little mistake in my choosing, and I can choose again. If I choose again, I will allow my Holy Spirit to make all the corrections I may need so that the consequences of my wrong choices are released and I may be taken to the arms of peace. This is the order of miracles. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. Yes? Thank you. Yes, it makes a lot of sense to me too. So, the third miracle, it says, miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. So it says, if they are not happening daily, then something needs correction. You know how in your everyday life you go about your life and then you have an interaction with someone and you see them being particularly kind, and you are surprised by the love. This must have happened to you. I think it happens to everyone. Not every day, maybe, but it happens, and this is a miracle. A miracle is simply a shared expression of love. A change in your mind where for a moment there is no separation between you and I, and there's just a very warm, calm, quiet love. So the miracle is a natural expression of love, and it should be happening all the time. It says the real miracle is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle. Once again, a miracle is needed only until we accept the absolute love that we are, so that we may be extended onto the world, and the miracle will no longer be needed. The miracle, as an expression of love, is the result of your humble willingness to be corrected. Your humble acceptance that if I am not experiencing myself in perfect love, it is me who made the wrong choice, because the love is there. And I must have judged, I must have made a wrong choice. This is why it's not happening for me. But I am not guilty of this. I have only made a little mistake that is open for correction. There is no attack involved. There is no punishment involved. There is just correction when you are willing. And the correction is the miracle itself. It will reach you when your heart and your mind are receptive for it. It says, miracles are natural. When they do not occur, something has gone wrong. So we are opening ourselves so that miracles happen continuously, so that the expressions of love are experienced in our everyday life, so that we may learn that our mind is open and our heart receptive to the expressions and the extensions of love itself. This is where we need a little bit of mind training. This is the only place where a little willingness is required. And then we are told miracles are healing because they supply a lack. They are performed by those who temporarily have more for those who temporarily have less. And this is where very gently and lovingly the idea of differences begin to disappear. All the differences that we see and experience at this point simply symbolize a temporary separation, a temporary difference, never a real difference, never a real separation. Everything in the differences is temporary, and many times one who has climbed up the ladder a little bit can shine his or her light over just to remind you that you too are love, that you too are light. And this is when a change of perception will be shared and a miracle will be experienced. You might think that the other performed a miracle for you, like only you and I. But the truth is that when the miracle is called for, love is called for. And love can only extend itself onto itself. So it's not truly a change at all. It's just a recognition. And it says, miracles are a kind of exchange. Like all expressions of love, which are always miraculous in the true sense, the exchange reverses the physical laws. They bring more love both to the giver and the receiver. And it's important that we look at this because through the thought system of the ego, we think that when you give, you lose. So every time I give something, I have less. This is the principle of lack. And this is the basis of the ego thought system. Many times I've had people share with me, oh, but I can't love everyone in the same way. I have to love my children more than my gardener. And the thought system, called the ego, says, that's natural, there's nothing wrong with that. But the Course in Miracles, with the loss of love, will say, oh my, a miracle is needed here. Because only unconditional love will give you a true experience of yourself. But why do we think, and this is temporary also, why do we think that it's perfectly natural to love your child more than the gardener? And then someone said in a class one day, they said, because, I feel guilty if I love the gardener more. My daughter, he deserves all my love. The gardener, I don't know. And this is the principle of lack. Observe it and observe it in your own life, how you've accepted it as something natural and human. And then the Course in Miracles brings the divine into your everyday life, where the only possibility is unconditional love. And this principle is very important because it says, when you give, both the giver and the receiver have more. Observe this thought. Observe the love as a synonym of a thought. Because we don't have a physical love. Some people might associate the physicality of love to sex, but we know that that's not it. We love our plants, we love our children, we love our animals. We don't have sex with them. So this is not, so there's no true physicality to love. You can't smell it, you can't touch it. It's all a thought, if you want. Now, if I have my thought that I share with my daughter, it's my daughter, I love her, so I share this with her. Yes? But then this girl just came today, I'd never seen her before. And I allow this thought to extend to her. Would you say there's less of that thought, or is there more? There's more, isn't it? If I share a thought with her, have I lost it? It's just extended. And this is the difference between the extension and the projection. Love extends, and as it extends, it's multiplied. It comes back multiplied to the giver and to the receiver. This is why unconditional love is 150% justified for your own sake. When you do not limit your love to the loved ones, but you allow this to extend. Imagine there is a lesson in the Course, lesson 121, for anyone who has the book, and this lesson says, forgiveness is the key to happiness. And it brings an image to your mind, where you bring to your mind your worst enemy, or just simply anyone you want to ignore, anyone you don't want to love. And you allow yourself to bring a light into this character and let the light expand. And make of this enemy a shining light. And then you bring into your mind your most loved one. And you let this light extend. And it's funny enough, for many people, it's like, oh no, I can't put those two together. I much as I love my child. But then if you can't, and this is happening only in your mind, why wouldn't you allow yourself for the love to extend? It is only because the principle of scarcity is still pumping for a little while in your mind. The principle that says, if I give, that which I give is lost for me. And we're making a shift. We're going from that principle to the principle of miracles that says, miracles are a kind of exchange. Like all expressions of love, which are always miraculous in the true sense, the exchange reverses the physical laws. The physical laws are the ones who speak about giving and losing. I give you my water, I no longer have my water. This is physical. This is the laws of the physicality. And yet, in the laws of the true miracle, the laws of love, the miracles bring more love both to the giver and to the receiver. So this is one of the major principles in the Course that we are called to accept in our hearts. And then it says, prayer is the medium of miracles. And this is a big one. Someone told me, oh, I don't know how to pray. And the Course in Miracles does not offer you any prayers, as in a set of sentences altogether. But it does offer you and stimulates you, inspires you to have direct communication with your source. This is what the Course calls prayer. It says, it is a means of communication of the Creator with the created. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. How many of you, and this we've looked at many of the religions of the world, and many of us who study A Course in Miracles, not to say all of us, have been the great rebels. We have not wanted to fall into the structure of structured religions. We've been seeking for a spiritual path that can take us back to peace without having to be in a mandatory structure where I need to do this and there's somebody else telling me what to do. I want to know what I have to do. So this is A Course in Miracles for you. It will shift your perception into looking within and finding the teacher. Until you train your mind to listen to this teacher in clarity, you will be continuously asking for help. This continuous asking for help is the prayer. The prayer in the Course in Miracles is not aimed at obtaining physical things in the world. Because here I will share with you one more phrase that is very extreme. And after I say it, you can run.
Because?
You can run if you want. This would be the time, you know? The phrase says, God did not create the earth because that which is terminal can never be created. Only that which is eternal has been created. And in many other thought systems, we speak about this experience of the physical world as the Maya, the illusion. But there is, it seems very real for us, and while we are here, the Course will take us from a nightmare, which it happens to be sometimes when we are in illness, or in anger, or in attack, or defense. It's like a nightmare. It's hell. So the Course will train our mind to allow for the happy dream to manifest itself before our own very eyes. That does not mean that the world, as we see it, that the world will change, but what we see of the world will change. And this has been said by many. Mahatma Gandhi said, seek not to change the world, but how you see it. And this is exactly what we are wanting to do. We are seeking to change our thought system so we may be deeply connected to our source and see only the reflection of that source. Am I making sense? So we need a little mind training for that, you know. The first time I remember the first time I worked as a Course in Miracle teacher with that name. I was in Venezuela, and we had just moved into a new house, and we had a huge garden, and I was going to do the class in the garden. And I said, God did not create the world, and all the lights went out. You know, something happened with the electricity, and everybody went, oh my, oh, everybody just freaked out and got really scared. Well, it is a scary thought unless you can see it purposefully. If you allow yourself to see this idea purposefully, then prayer will have a purpose for you. And the purpose of prayer will be simply to have a communication with your Creator, in which you simply ask for clarity. Please, you know, you call that Creator whatever you want to call Him. Here it's called in different ways. It's called God, it's called love, it's called Source, it's called Father. You can call it Mother if you want, or the buddy. Some people call him like that in Venezuela, my buddy, you know. Because some people, you know, certain words, you know, itch for some. So this is not a booking terminology. You can use whichever word you want to use as long as you know which content you're referring to. So if you want to direct your attention to the Creator, to your source, oh source, in prayer, I come to you simply so that my mind may be freed of the illusions of the world, so that I may see the reflection of the love eternal before me, so that I may, and you discover your own prayer. And as you pray, love will be extended to you because you have opened the door of your heart to this communication. This might sound like something you need to learn, but it's not. There's a part in the Course where it speaks to us about the prayer of the heart. So it's not really about the correct words. Many times people have asked me, oh, but which words do I have to use? Can you write them down for me? And it's not about the words. The Course is very specific. It says words have nothing to do with prayer. Words are but symbols of symbols of symbols. They are meaningless. It's the content behind those words that truly entail the prayer. So your holiness, your source, your spirit in the light, your Holy Spirit, is listening to the prayer of your heart. This is why many times when people pray with words, they say, God doesn't listen. He's not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not getting what I'm asking. And you treat your source like a maitre d' in a 5-star hotel. I want this, I want this, and I want this. And I'll light up 3 candles and do a couple meditations and I should get it, right? This is the way how you treat our source. And then you're requesting things, circumstances, changes that you don't even know if they will benefit you to reach your purpose, which is perfect peace, perfect happiness. So we will discover how to pray the prayer of the heart many times. And this is, if you observe how you feel when you think, oh, I need a new house, for example. I know she's getting a new house pretty soon, Solara.
Fell through.
Oh, okay. No?
Not getting it.
Not yet. But another one will come, you know. So you say, oh, I want Let me just make can I use you for an example? I will ask you a couple questions just to find the purpose of why we do certain things. And just answer whatever comes easily to your mind. Yes? Why did you want this house or this apartment? What for? Quickly.
To have something which is really mine.
Okay. To have something which was really mine. What for?
To make home.
To make home. What for?
To feel at home.
What for? Why would you want to feel at home?
To
Quickly.
feel homeless.
Yeah, that's how you feel, but why would you like to feel at home? What for? What's the purpose of feeling at home? To be happy, maybe?
I am happy already.
So, what is the purpose? Maybe this is why it's not falling through. What for? What for? Why do I want to feel at home? What's the purpose?
To relax.
Okay. Why relax?
It's difficult to answer the questions because there are a load of different directions I could
Yes.
go in the same thing. Yeah.
I'll make a simple. I mean, if I was to answer that, I'll bring it to me myself. I want to relax. Why? Because I want to feel good. Why? To feel happy. Honestly, very honestly, if we looked at the different purposes we have given to different things, finding a home, finding a partner, having great sex, having more money, they are all aimed at feeling happy. You won't do it to feel rough. You would do it to feel happy. So we've diverted our attention into the world. And prayer brings you back to the place where what you really want will be achieved. This is what somehow the Course wants to share with all of us. Prayer is the vehicle of miracles. And the miracles is simply where love is received. And as love is received, the experience of happiness comes with it. It's just on and off for us right now. And we want to experience it on a constant basis. This is where mind training comes in. So we don't divert into the world like all of us do eventually until we don't. Until we realize how distracted we were. And to be in prayer, as per A Course in Miracles, doesn't mean you have to, stand on your knees, or prayer as meditation, if you want to call it. You don't have to sit by yourself. You can be in prayer anywhere. Prayer is in your mind. Prayer is a request for love and an acceptance of love. The prayer of the heart might be a silent request that says, and it says help, or it says thank you. Gratitude, it doesn't need the words. So this is part of one of the principles of miracles, prayer as a vehicle for miracles. It says, it is a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. And this next principle is beautiful, and it says, miracles are thoughts. Miracles are thoughts. Thoughts can represent the lower or bodily levels of experience, or the higher or spiritual levels of experience. One makes the physical and the other creates the spiritual. But at the end, all of us are truly seeking for the spiritual. Because many times we think, yes, but I am hungry. I wish to eat. And then you eat. And in 3 hours, you will be hungry again. So you can request for the food to sustain you, yes. And perhaps it will come to you. But if you are a trained and disciplined miracle worker, you will know that the greater clarity will come when you are able to request simply the release of all your bodily needs. So you may live in peace, and may not your happiness be hindered by a bodily needs. Because sometimes it's hunger, sometimes it's sleep, sometimes it's the need for sex, sometimes it's the whatever bodily need you may have. And sometimes you have all of them. This must have happened to you. I'm sleepy, I'm hungry, and I need to pee. And then you have all these demands. And it's very stressful. What if you could release all the bodily needs? Pray to be released of the experience of all the bodily needs, so that your peaceful state of mind may never be compromised. Doesn't mean that you don't eat, or you don't sleep, or you don't do what you have to do. It simply means that that will not interfere in your experience of happiness. Am I making any sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, we have other miracles. Well, there's 50. I won't go through them all. I'll just go through a couple more. It says, miracles transcend the body. This one I really like, because it's very linked to that mantra that we heard earlier on. It says, I am not a body. I am bliss. It says, they are sudden shifts into invisibility, away from the bodily level. That is why they heal. And this is where healing takes on a different definition. The healing is not in the realm of the physical. It may reach the realm of the physical if it is useful for your plan, for salvation, for the absolute healing of your mind. But the miracle happens in the mind. It transcends the body experience. Someone recently was asking me, and this is my personal sharing, it's not written in the book, but it's come to me many times, because I have many friends who study the Advaita Vedanta and the teachings of the Hinduism. And someone was talking to me about Ramana Maharshi, and they said, oh, but this guy was enlightened, but he had bone cancer. And I said, well, I've been lucky enough, I've been grateful enough to meet someone who was a Ramana Maharshi direct disciple. And this person told me that when they came before this teacher of God and sat in his presence there, laying down on the couch or wherever he was laying, he could not move very much because he was very fragile in his bone structure. And when you were sitting before this man, there was such joy. There was such a presence there that the immediate teaching was, I am not a body, I am free, I'm still as Spirit created me. Even though there was a body, the disidentification to the body was the perfect teaching, and it wasn't even through the words, it was through the experience. So when we speak of the miracle in the Course in Miracles, it transcends the physicality. We are not taking this. Might be a little disappointing for some, because as we live in a Catholic country, and we are very much influenced by this religion and similar religions, the miracle always has to do with the correction of the physical problems. Not that many people within these religions aim at the miracle in the mind, the experience of true peace and joy. It is the physical miracle that is always sought for. And it's not, you have to go, Clara? You have to go?
Yeah, I want to try in English, but it's very difficult for me. I come in Spain.
Okay, in Spanish. Okay.
And if you want to sit down here, it's more comfortable. Yeah, I see you. And big kiss for all.
I'll see you. Come on Thursday, Clara.
Yeah, in Sesamo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
In which case, I need to leave there.
Thank you.
So we are looking at the miracle-minded, and that is us. The miracle-minded, those of us who have accepted the miracle in our mind, are those of us who have accepted a change of perception. We are no longer defending our ideas. We are letting them go with a little bit of willingness. So we may be corrected. This is not something you do by yourself. You are called to gently and humbly accept help from your inner teacher. And this is very humbling, and this is the way to go, because it is only the ego who wants to do it by themselves. When you hear this talk in your mind that says, I can do this. Hi, sweetie. I can do it. I have everything it takes. I can do that. Listen to that voice, because it speaks of itself and by itself, and it is the voice of the ego. It is not the voice of spirit. Because in the voice of spirit, everyone is included, and we are open for correction, because we don't want to defend what we know. We just want to be receptive to the truth. So this is part of the miracles. It says, miracles are a way of earning release from fear. Does anyone want to be released from fear? Yes. I want to be released from every aspect of fear. Fear in my relationships, fear of illness, fear of losing, fear of winning, fear of success, fear of failure. Fear, fear, fear. The human condition is a fearful condition. So it says, miracles are a way of earning release from fear. Revelation induces a state in which fear has already been abolished. Miracles are thus a means of revelation, and revelation is an end. These are just words, and you'll become more and more thank you. Okay, my English isn't yet really good now. Acquainted. I will become more, you guys all, and me, will become more and more acquainted with these words that are very coarse. Sorry, I didn't say it right, did I?
There's no N at the end. There's no N.
Okay, acquainted.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Acquainted.
What does it mean?
Like acquaintance, becoming familiar with. No?
You know it. Yeah, you get acquainted with it. You
Acquainted,
get to know it.
yes. We will become familiar with these words. Because they're just Course in Miracles words, they truly don't mean anything themselves. It's just the content behind them. Revelation in the Course in Miracles is direct connection with your source. And this is attained through prayer. So the miracle says, miracles are a way of earning release from fear. Revelation induces a state where fear has already been abolished. Revelation as in true communication with your source. For some time, this will be happening little by little. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe every whatever, the revelation. It doesn't reveal anything in the world. It doesn't give you information. It simply gives you a kind of information, but it's something that you already knew and you had forgotten, which is the truth about yourself, but there's no words to it. There's just an instant where all fear is abolished, because an instant where you automatically know there's nothing to fear. You are not a body. And this is a maya, an illusion. This happens through revelation. And revelation comes to you through prayer. So, yes, many people come to the course and they have no idea that prayer is so useful. Meditation is magnificent to quieten the mind. Prayer is an active quietness. You quiet yourself and then open yourself up and dial the number. So you may have a direct communication. And we are told miracles are expressions of love, but they may not always have observable effects. And this one is important, and this is where we're going to stop, just to take a break and then do the introduction around this. It's important to realize how much we want the effect in the physicality of our world. We want to see it. I want to see that almost dead flower open up like that. I want to see a wound closing, especially with all the special effects in movies now, you know. I want to see it happening. And yet, it's not of you, and it should never compromise your devotion to truth. The miracle is always happening. When you are willing, the undoing of the error in the mind is happening. It may not always have immediate observable effects. Every time you are willing to accept correction in your mind, a miracle is happening. Every time you are honest with yourself and you say, I need a miracle. Because I'm not at peace, so I need a correction. This is the key. If you're not at peace, you need a miracle. If I'm not at peace, I'll ask for my own. It's my responsibility and how I feel. Many times when I request this miracle, it's happening, and I'm not seeing it here immediately. And I'll share a story with you. This was a personal story happening to me many years ago, and you will understand how the miracle works. I have a very dear friend who's a daughter, like a sister, not a daughter, like a sister to me. And she has a sister herself who looks very much like her and does what she does, works, it has the same job. And, oh, this is the new lady, yes. Yes, come in.
Did you see right there?
It was waiting for you. Thank you. Hola. So, this lady, my friend was very upset at her sister. They hadn't talked to each other for about 15 years because her sister had been copying. They're both artists, and one had been copying the other, and she was very mad at this, you know. And I didn't know her sister, but I knew the pain my friend felt, and I was like empathic with that. Oh yeah, your sister's such a terrible person. For a little while there, I kind of felt that, and I said, oh, I need correction. One day after a class, it wasn't very late at night, and I was hungry, and I didn't feel like going home, so I went to a restaurant where a couple of musician friends were playing. And I said, I'll have a tea or a coffee there and listen to them a little while, and then I'll go home. And I did that. And one of my friends told me, oh, you know, your friend's sister is up there. The restaurant had a second floor. Really? because they knew about this feud, family feud. Oh, okay. I listened to my friends for a little while longer, and I see this woman coming down the stairs, and she looked exactly like my friend. It was like they were twins, at least to my eyes. It's the only time I saw this lady. And she came down, and she walked, she smiled at me, and she sat exactly where I was sitting, because I was sitting in the bar. She said, hi. I said, hi. And I knew who she was. She didn't know who I was. And I looked at her, and I felt a rush of anger. And I thought, how mad is this? How crazy is this? It's the first time I've seen her. She's not in my life, and yet, in my thoughts, I'm attacking her. And I prayed there and then. And I said, oh gosh, may my mind be released of this emotion. May I see only truth and perfection. If I don't see peace and perfection, I have made a mistake, and I now accept this correction. And this is what I was praying. I was having my tea, and I was looking at her, and I was saying, oh my gosh, I feel terrible about this woman. And I was having my tea, and my mind was in prayer. Yes, humbly accepting that what I felt was not justified, and I needed the correction. I needed to be released from this emotion, from these thoughts. And good enough, she let by. I left, and now I forgot about this incident. The prayer was never lost because I asked for my miracle. Several months after that, I'm with my friend, and we're talking, and she says, oh yes, and yesterday I went to the supermarket with my sister. I said, you went to the supermarket with your sister? She said, oh, I didn't tell you. And I said, no. She says, like 3 months ago, she came back from a dinner she had, and then the next day she called me, and she said she wanted to see me, and I don't know what happened, but something was broken, and we've forgiven each other. And I'm saying, oh. And I said, oh. And it brought tears to my eyes. I could see that, and somehow it was a confirmation to this particular principle. I was able to see it 3 months afterwards, where I had already forgotten about this miracle. But when you request a change of perception, your world changes with you. And it's impossible for you to see here and now every aspect of your world, but it's changing. Because you've decided to no longer live in conflict, because you have made the choice to give more importance to peace of mind than to resentment or hatred or separation. So you may not observe the effects, but may you be sure that the miracle is happening. So, pardon?
Smoking break.
Yes.
Sorry.
I think it's time. I felt it too. I don't smoke, but yes. Let's take a break, and then we'll do a little bit of introduction to set this information in. Thank you so much. Yes.